Hi, Yvonne here. Welcome to my craft room. I'm going to show you a technique. I call it a gilding technique, gilding edges. My first experiment was this card, and I'll show you the layers, but it's a pretty basic, simple card. But what I did on the poinsettia is, you see the edges there? I put the gold right to the edge, and it just gave it this marvelous effect that I just love. Here's the difference between, I'm doing a whole bunch of these so you can see the difference in the can you see that? How this looks on this edge as opposed to just, this is a base, this is your, I've heat embossed this with gold powder and then I've cut it out with a die. And this is after I've gilded it. So I'm going to jump straight to that. The card's basic. I'll show you later how to put the card together. It's your pretty basic layering card. But I know you really want to figure this out, and it's really simple. It's quite embarrassingly simple. You'll groan when you see how I did it. But I just love the marvelous effect. And one of the things I found is when you do this, letting a little bit of the gold get onto the edge, it kind of gives it a softer edging. Don't worry that it's not perfect along there, okay? So what you're going to do first, take this one, and I'm going to take a petal and I'm going to make a little check mark because that's where I'm going to start. Because you start doing this and you go around forever, and one petal I realized I'd gone around twice before I realized I'd finished it. So, okay, Versamark ink, finger sponge. Okay, so now what you want to do is you want to go so that the ink is going to be along this white edge here. I want to cover the edge, sides, and edges of this. So I'm going to start with my check mark one, and I'm just going to lift this up carefully. I'm just going to start daubing the ink on the edge and sides. You really can't see where you've got it, so you sort of got to go. Okay, just this one, push it up. Just be careful that you don't bend your petals. I tell you how I came up with this technique. It was quite by accident. I cut something out with the foil. I'll show you it on the card. And I had put some tape down to hold the dies. This was before I had my magnetic plate, which I love, by the way. And when I lifted the tape off, it took some of the gold foil off the edge, and I didn't want to throw the whole piece away. So I thought, I wonder if I put a little bit of embossing powder on this, can I fix it with the gold embossing powder? Well, I did that, and I thought, you know what? I really like that effect. Okay, so I've done all the way around. You'll need a little paintbrush, your embossing powder, a pair of tweezers or something that you can get right in here. Okay, so you can catch those edges, and then just work those edges in, because you want the powder to go right, not on the top, but also on the edge where you've put the Versamark ink. And I might just wipe a little bit. Okay, I've got the edge. I'm just checking to see that you can see the powders around the edge. Give it a tap. Bring in your little paintbrush, and just, you don't want it to cover up too much. Just clean this off. Now I'm hoping, this is my third video I started on this, and the first two, well, the first one my dog came in to visit and started to bark, so I had to stop and restart. And The second one, a phone call came in the middle. So I'm hoping the third time is a charm. Okay, so don't worry, I didn't get it all the way in here. I'm not really too worried about that because when you see the finished card, I didn't get it all the way into the edges there, and it's okay. All right, so I'm going to move that embossing powder out of the way just so I don't get my heat gun near it. And when you're doing this, it's going to be a bit noisy, but see, you want to get, you don't want to overheat where you've already embossed because it'll start to lose its shine. You just want to get those edges. Okay, I'm going to have to shut this off for a second. Just move this so I can get the other side of the petals. Okay, that looks good. That looks great. Now, if it's a little dull like that, right there, you can see I don't think I've done the powder there. So I'll just... There you go. Okay, so you just repeat that. So this is what it looks like after, and this is before. All right, simple. Now, how did I put this card together? I'll just show you this. I started off with Very Vanilla Thick. I stamped the inside, and this is from the Poinsettia stamp set. Poinsettia petals. This is what I used to stamp the petals. I used this to stamp here. Okay. Give it a good score. And on the layers, this is Cherry Cobbler. And I stamped it with this stamp right here in Versamark. And then I heat embossed that. Okay. And I'll have all the dimensions down below for you. So then I took, for the layering, some gold foil paper, and I cut this. I used the stitched rectangles. This is called the stitch rectangles. And I used, counting from the outside as being number 1, I used 3 and number 4. Okay, so all I did was lay this down on the gold foil, cut it out like so. Okay, so you get these pieces. This is a shortened version because my internet takes forever to upload, and it'll probably take me all day just to upload this, so I'm trying to keep the video short. Okay, so then I took those same pieces and I used the Tasteful Textures embossing folder and ran it through the machine. And isn't that gorgeous? I just love that. So then to do the layers, all I did was I glued this on. I glued this on first. Okay. Glued this on this piece, dimensionals on there, on top. And then the 2 flowers, I just positioned like so with a little bit of Tombow and a dimensional, and glued it on the front. Now also the beaded pearls, you'll note, I don't know if you can see it on the camera, but they're actually silver. And I wanted to give it a bit of a gold. See, there's a silver one. Okay, so I used my bronze Stampin' Blend, and I just lightly ran it along the edges. Be very careful because you don't want the bronze on the pearl part, but just on there. And those little tiny on the tops, I just dabbed it with that. I did it 2 coats and it was too coppery. I didn't like it. I quickly took it off with some alcohol and redid it. And just 1 coat, and it just gives it a bit of a gold sheen so that it sort of matches your card. So it's got a bit of a gold to it. Okay, and so these 2 pieces here from the same die set, the poinsettia die set. Well, I guess I should show you that too. When I cut out the poinsettias, I used these that match the dies, okay? And then in this pretty sprigs, I cut 2 of those out of the gold foil paper and put those on as well. So there's a quick version of that. I think you really wanted to see with how I did the gilding. I call it gilding because I don't know what else to call it, but I really pleased how it turned out. Give it a try. You know what you could do? You could use this. Once you do this, I'm thinking, oh boy, I can do all kinds of things. I think this would look lovely with Night of Navy or Misty Moonlight with the white, with the silver. Wouldn't that be pretty? So I have got all kinds of things to try. So the Very Vanilla card base. This is very vanilla thick. This is, I use standard Very Vanilla and cherry cobbler and your gold foil paper. Or you can use the gold brushed paper as well. Same thing. You really can't, it's got a little bit different sheen to it, but it works out really nice. So happy stamping, and I hope you'll try this. Pretty basic stuff you need. Your Versamark ink, sponge dauber, a little paintbrush, and your gold embossing powder. So thanks for coming to my craft room. Happy stamping. Bye for now.